time for the big dogs to eat at the Hav A Tampa Shootout. Is it about the bucks, the bragging rights, a slice of glory pie?
It's all about the money.
This is the culmination of an 8-month road that has taken the country's best late model dirt warriors to 17 states. Tonight, one driver will be crowned King of the Dirt. Drivers earned invitations to the prestigious Hav A Tampa Shootout. And after the heats, just 26 have emerged to have a shot at a huge payday tonight. With the championship already having been clinched last week by Scott Bloomquist, it is, as he says, all about the money. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Allen and Ozzie Altman, and we are revved up for the late model Super Bowl of racing, the Hav A Tampa Shootout here at Dixie Speedway. And Ozzie, I think it's fair to say that the action so far, without any exaggeration, has been super.
Phenomenal. Before the green flag is even waved on the feature event, 6 wild heat races as these drivers trying to scratch and claw their way into the feature event. The first 18 starters determined by those heat races. On the first lap of the first heat, it was defending shootout champion Billy Moyer, who also won the 97 title, getting out of shape. And before it's over, he and Tony Reed over on their roofs. Moyer will start from the tail using a provisional to make the feature.
Then it all happened so quick that, I just ran in there and, the bottom of the racetrack was still pretty sloppy, wet water down there, and we just got in the car, got a little loose, and we turned around there sideways. It's basically my fault, and then somebody got into me after that and kind of rolled the car over. But it wasn't no violent flip or nothing. It was easy. So as far as bending the car up or me, it didn't hurt me, and it bent the car a little bit, but not nothing that is not fixable.
Then in the 6th heat, newly crowned 98 champ Scott Bloomquist is caught up in all sorts of beating and banging. It's safe to say he felt like a football in a punting contest. Bloomquist had to run the consi and starts well back in the field in the 24th position.
So that gives you just some sense of what we're going to see here for 100 laps in the season finale. A few minutes ago, our Bill Hennessy caught up with the front row starters.
This driver's from the Stars Series. Came in here to Woodstock, Georgia, and is starting on the outside of the front row. That's Tim Hitt, an 8-time winner on the year. Can this be number 9 in the record book for you?
Well, I tell you, we're hoping. There's a lot of great race cars here today, so we're just going to have to run 100 hard laps and hope everything comes out right.
Were you surprised at how well you qualified here?
This is the second time we've only been here, so I'm real pleased with how we qualified, and I hope we can stay up front.
Tim Hitt on the outside of the front row, while the man who has earned the pole position has yet to win a Hav A Tampa Series race in 1998. Bill Fry, are you surprised at how well you qualified here?
Well, we really didn't qualify that good. Then we lucked out and on the inversion drew the front row in a heat race, and ran good in the heat race and won it. So we tried some new stuff in the dash last night, and that didn't work. So we're going back to where we were, and hopefully in the feature we'll be able to stay out front. There's a lot of good cars here tonight, a lot of stiff competition in the feature.
Let's take a look at the 26 starters who are hoping to pick up $45,000 tonight. You've met the front row of Bill Fry and Tim Hitt. On row 2, it's Dan Schleifer from Wisconsin and Dale McDowell from Georgia.
Back in row 3, Springfield, Missouri's Terry Phillips lines up alongside Wendell Wallace in the Monday trucking ride. Freddie Smith in the 00, and Decatur, Illinois' Shannon Babb side by side in row 4.
On row 5, it's Donnie Moran, and next to him, Johnny Johnson. Row 6, it's a pair of Tennessee drivers, Clayton Christenberry and Billy Ogle Jr.
Back in row 7, York, Pennsylvania driver Rick Eckert lines up alongside of Dalton, Georgia's Marshall Green. One row back, the Iceman, Jimmy Mars out of Elk Mound, Wisconsin, alongside the tall, cool one, Bob Pierce out of Illinois.
On the inside of row 9, it's Skip Arp. To his right will be Jason Smith. Row 10 is occupied by Jack Pennington and Ronnie Johnson.
The red C-28 of Kenny Merchant lines up alongside the Fargo Flash, Rick Auckland in the black 12. Ray Cook out of Murphy, North Carolina, alongside of Scott Bloomquist, those drivers in row 12.
And the provisional starters are 97 Rookie of the Year Earl Pearson Jr. and 97 Series champ and defending event champion Billy Moyer.
Drivers from 35 states across the country have earned invitations to this Hav A Tampa Shootout in 17 states in which the series competed in 1998.
And here is the purse they will be chasing tonight. It totals $168,000. Tonight's winner will take home no less than $45,000. No driver in the field will leave Dixie Speedway with less than $2,000. And because this is Late Model Dirt Racing's Super Bowl, we have rolled out the bus of in-car cameras for tonight. One of them, the Redline Oil camera, will be aboard Scott Bloomquist's car. And that's the view you'll be seeing from the Zero car much of the evening. Well, that's just one of 4 cameras we've got. The second one will be in two-time event winner this year, Ray Cook's car. This is the view that he will have starting back from the inside of the 12th row. In-car number 3 will be in the 31 car of Skip Arp, the man who finished second in the series points this year. Arp will start on the inside of the 9th row. And our final in-car will be aboard Wendell Wallace. He has the best starting position of our 4 in-car cameras. He'll roll off 6th. A terrific crowd is on hand. We are set to go for 100 laps around the Dixie Speedway. The green flag is out, and we are underway in the season finale. Tim Hitt gets the early jump from the outside of the front row and will take the point. Second is Dale McDowell. Third is pole sitter Bill Fry.
Hitt to the stripe. He leads lap 1. McDowell in tow as they work back through turns 1 and 2. Out of turn 2, Hitt with about a half a car length advantage.
On board with Wendell Wallace for the first time. He's running back in the 6th position.
Another look from the in-car of Ray Cook's Ford Mustang, provided by Redline Oil. This shot, cars darting 3 wide directly in front of him as they work around this tricky configuration at Dixie Speedway. It's more or less a D-shaped oval here, the 3/8 mile.
That's Terry Phillips in the red 75 and the 00 of Freddie Smith. That's the battle for 7th.
Donnie Moran just behind those cars as they work down the back chute at Dixie Speedway.
Everyone sorting themselves out nicely in the early laps with Tim Hitt on the point. In fact, the front pair of cars have pulled up well ahead. There's a little bit of contact there. Phillips feels the pressure from Smith. On board with Skip Arp. He's trying the low side of the racetrack.
Back up front, there is your leader, Weston, West Virginia driver, Timmy Hitt. They call him the Hit Man. Dale McDowell tries to look to the outside as they work out of turn 2. McDowell will now fall back in line as they head down the back chute.
Back in the pack, there's plenty of action. Scott Bloomquist trying to work his way forward after problems in the heat race. This is not for the faint of heart. Bloomquist started 24th and has already picked up 4 positions in these early laps.
And in addition to the regular purse of this event, Bloomquist with 20,000 additional reasons to try to get up and pick up the win. Mickey's big bonus that pays an extra 20,000 if you can win the regular season event and come back and win the shootout. Dale McDowell gets beneath Hitt, but Hitt will hold him off this time around.
Side by side for the lead. They go into turn 1, but a car is off the pace and up the banking in turn 1. That's Kenny Merchant, and the yellow is out on lap 9.
Looks like the end of the road for the Ruston, Louisiana-based operation of J.D. Caver as Kenny Merchant done for the night.
Tonight's Have A Tampa telecast on Speed Vision is brought to you by Iski Racing Cams. Go fast, go Iski. By MDC, the official diecast manufacturer of the Have A Tampa series. By Redline Oil, the official lubricant of the Have A Tampa series. And by GoRacing.com, the official website of the Have A Tampa series. We're back at the Hav A Tampa Shootout, the culmination of a 32-race season that has brought most of the best late model dirt drivers to this facility. And that's Earl Pearson, stopped on the backstretch.
You can see the officials pulling the sheet metal away from the right rear tire under Hav A Tampa Dirt Racing Series rules. Only track and series officials are allowed to touch those cars. Safety always a priority on this series, not just for that individual car, but his fellow competitors certainly don't want any debris scattering out on the racetrack. Now, there's also been a report that there is a possibility that a car is leaking fluid on the track. They were looking at Pearson's car, aside from pulling that sheet metal, and now race leader Timmy Hitt is pulled down, and officials will look over his car.
Now, this could be a significant development for this driver who has paced the race since it went green.
Series official Jamie Fair, who hails from Knoxville, Tennessee, coordinating with Tim Hitt, also talking with competition director Scott French, who's positioned in the flag stand atop the front straightaway. And they have looked over the car, and I believe they'll hold Hitt until the second and third place cars come back around the track. There is Dale McDowell, who is officially posted in second. Great run this year for Dale. Mark in that Dover cylinder head ride. He has 10 career Hav A Tampa wins, 2 of them coming here in 1998.
Now they'll let Tim Hitt roll off in front to resume his top position as we're going to get set to go back to racing here in just a couple of moments. But last night, they held the Iski Race Cams Dash. This is a $5,000 to win event. At the start, Jimmy Mars, a little too high in the second corner, went around. They restored him to his position for the restart. And at the end of the event, lo and behold, who was in front? Jimmy Mars. And he picked up the $5,000 to win event.
Followed in second by Scott Bloomquist and Wendell Wallace, and that was just for 15 laps, so pretty good payday there.
Not bad at all. There's a better payday tonight. $45,000 at the very least will go to one of these 25 drivers still on the track running. Kenny Merchant has taken his car behind the wall. He's done for the night.
Jimmy Mars has also pulled by the wayside. He's out of the event as well. Green flag back in the air.
So we've already lost 2 competitors inside of the first 10 laps as we are back to speed and Timmy Hitt is back on the point. Everyone has sorted themselves out nicely among the top 10. That is the best battle that we'll have. That is for 4th, Dan Schliefer in the white S9. This is the view of Wendell Wallace, who's trying to take that spot.
Wallace looking to the inside. He is in one of the GRT house cars as his teammate Dale McDowell again closes on Hitt down the front chute.
We'll have to wait and see what happens to tire wear and tire performance once we get a number of laps under green. Back in the pack, this is Scott Bloomquist. Right in front of him is Skip Arpin. Look at Bloomquist charging forward. He started on the outside of the 12th row and has already picked off 5 cars in his march toward the front and a possible $20,000 bonus that Ozzie Altman mentioned if he could win this race.
Billy Ogle Jr. directly in front of Bloomquist, and Bloomquist still in tight-quartered racing there alongside Skip Arp.
Ogle the winner at Tazewell earlier this year, not a touring regular, so anytime the local boys beat up on the veteran campaigners, it's big news. That was our first Hav A Tampa telecast on Speed Vision, and it was a beaut from the mountains of Tennessee.
Your leader, Tim Hitt, sponsored by AFCO Racing Products and Rocket Chassis. We look back, and Terry Phillips continuing to be hounded by Freddie Smith. The Southern gentleman scoots up to the high side of the track. A little greasy up there in the early going.
Drivers still feeling their way around this 3/8 mile speedway. They're hoping a second groove will work itself in track preparation so critical to the ability to pass on the Speedway, and also the nerve of the driver. And there's no driver with more nerve out there than Scott Bloomquist.
Bloomquist smoked the tires coming out of turn number 4.
Trouble! Big trouble in turn 1, and Scott Bloomquist is one of the cars involved. Rick Eckert is in the 24, and our series champion has got big problems in the second corner. The yellow is out again.
Bloomquist rolls his car down the banking. You see the yellow flag being hung in the stand. It all broke loose exiting turn number 2. Clayton Christenberry getting into Shannon Babb, that Luke Babb's car around. Now we're looking down at Bloomquist, and apparently bad news for Rick Eckert.
Well, it will take a couple of moments to come to that stricken car, and we'll step away for just a moment. We're back at Dixie Speedway for the Hav A Tampa Shootout. A major incident on lap 17 over in the second corner involving a number of drivers. Let's take a look at a replay and see what happened.
Clayton Christenberry getting into Shannon Babb. Babb's car sideways. There's Eckert and Bloomquist with a pretty hard lick. Jack Pennington gets a piece of Eckert. Other cars sliding by. We saw Donnie Moran in that early. And he was also, here's a look from Scott Bloomquist Ford Mustang.
At speed, this is what happened to him. Hard hit. I wonder if he'll be able to continue. Here's the view from Skip Arp's camera at real speed.
Close call down low for Arp. Donnie Moran also.
The United Dirt Track Racing Association sanctions the Hav A Tampa Series, and before tonight's race, Bill Hennessy talked with the sanctioning body presidents.
Mike, the shootout at Dixie Speedway, that's a family tradition. You seem to continue it year after year. Why is it so special?
I think it's because this is where it all started, Bill, right here at Dixie Speedway 9 years ago, and just amazed at how far it's come in that length of time, and we've grown from just a southern regional event to a nationally recognized event like it has, and we're just thrilled to death. And there's so much history behind this race. We've got people sitting in the grandstands been in the same spot since year 1, just exciting.
As we head to break, we need to mention the passing of a friend of the Hav A Tampa Racing Series earlier this year. Ozzie Altman, Trace Ali was a friend to everybody in this sport.
It's still hard to believe that Trace is no longer with us in this fast-paced sport. He's sorely missed, and he was certainly an innovator in bringing television coverage to the Hav A Tampa Series and dirt late model racing.
Just about set to go back to racing at the Hav A Tampa Shootout. Earlier tonight, a passing of the baton between the rookies of the year.
Congratulations extended from last year's Rookie of the Year, Earl Pearson, to this year's Rookie of the Year, Wisconsin's Dan Sleeper. Green flag back on the field as we continue in the 9th annual Hav A Tampa Shootout.
Tim Hitt back on the point after race officials inspected his car and discovered that there was nothing underneath his car that was causing fluid to be dropped. Look at Dale McDowell underneath him for the second time tonight, but can't get the bike coming off the 4th corner.
Hitt's car got a little squirrely out of turn 4, but he reeled it back in, and now you see several cars battling for position. Billy Ogle and Ray Cook in a nifty battle. Back at the in-car camera from Ray Cook's Ford Mustang.
And look at how much those cars are darting around. And that's Rick Auckland in the 12 directly in front of him. He's got a handful of race car.
Listen to the horsepower generated from these cars. 700 to 750 horsepower. Now we look from Scott Bloomquist's machine, sponsored by Miller Brothers Coal. Bloomquist involved in that accident earlier, and now back up to speed.
Restored to his position in the running order, which was just inside the top 10 at that point. That's Clayton Christenberry directly in front of him. Before the race, we talked with Bloomquist about his plans for next year.
We're still not near where we need to be. We're going to work extra hard this winter, and I'm getting some new help, some more help. We're going to have everybody step up to the plate a little bit stronger, get a new rig done, and, we just got to get reorganized for next year. This year's been a good year, not a great year. We see that there's much room for improvement. We just work for that next year.
How much better can he get? He just won the series championship this year. Folks, for more information about your favorite television network, the best way to get it is to access it on the internet at www.speedvision.com. And how many times this season, Ozzie, have we seen Scott Bloomquist's car trailing smoke?
Probably about as many as we've seen him falling behind Clayton Christenberry, trying to work it around him. Now, Christenberry earned that spot, and he's racing hard here at Dixie Speedway. Had a good run here earlier in this season. Scott Bloomquist hung up behind him now. Bloomquist had made rapid progression through the field until reaching this little snag here as he continues to try to work beneath the CV3 of Christenberry.
Back on board with Ray Cook, who's watching that battle just a couple of cars further forward. He's trying to get around the 12 of Rick Auckland.
Auckland also getting a little antsy. Rick, originally from Fargo, North Dakota, now resides in Zanesville, Ohio. Back up front, it's the Hitt man, Tim Hitt, and Dale McDowell with Bill Fry running in third.
And right behind him is the S9 of Dan Schlieper, a two-time winner this season. And the new Rookie of the Year. He'll carry that mantle all throughout the 1999 season. That's Wendell Wallace on board with him. He's back in the 5th position.
And Mark, this in-car view giving you a opportunity to see that the steering wheel is not the only mechanism that the drivers use to make these cars turn through the corners. That right foot on the throttle has a lot to do with it.
Wendell Wallace being very smooth around this 3/8 mile oval. Started on the outside of the 3rd row, has been able to pick up one spot, but he's got 4 strong horses trying to run away for him further up the track. This is the Hav A Tampa Shootout from Dixie Speedway. We'll be back with more action on Speed Vision after this. The series all season long and administer the rules are competition director Scott French, Jamie Fair, one of the inspectors, along with Richie Lewis, the other inspector. Now, they've got a tough job. It's a long, hard grind throughout the season, but it will come to an end after tonight. This is a battle for position. The CV3 almost, in fact, sideways. Scott Bloomquist is the man who gave him the nudge.
Each of those cars, Bloomquist, Cook, and Auckland, appear to be a little bit quicker than Christenberry. You see Bloomquist balling the tires again. Here's a replay. Wow. Awfully close there as Christenberry completely sideways in front of Bloomquist. Still not able to get around him, though.
And Scott Bloomquist could have turned him all the way around, but didn't. But these two drivers went nose to tail just like this in the closing laps at Kentucky Lake. Bloomquist was going for the win. At that time, Christenberry was trying to stay on the lead lap, and with just a few circuits to go, Christenberry did go around after contact. Bloomquist trying to get past him, work his way back toward the front, which is where Tim Hitt is. And we've just hit halfway.
And Tim Hitt is the hit of the evening so far. 2-car length advantage. McDowell will try to close her down again. Now they're placing a lap on Earl Pearson Jr. And you look at that car. Timmy Hitt has that Chevrolet Monte Carlo, just leaned over real hard on the right side. And he's got to maintain that pace if he wants to keep the lead just in front of McDowell.
Here comes Dale McDowell making one of his strongest challenges since the early laps, but cannot get it done off the 4th corner. Bill Fry in 3rd has been watching Dale McDowell's efforts ever since the start of the race, but Tim Hitt has been making no mistakes. He has hardly allowed the door to be opened up for more than just a couple of seconds. As Fry looks to the high side, he's trying to find his way around 2nd place to get a clean shot at Hitt. Side by side and a little contact down the backstretch.
Brian, his strongest move of the evening so far, as he had worked just up under Dale McDowell. McDowell slammed the door and maintains its 2nd position.
If McDowell didn't know he was there before, he does now.
Three-car length advantage for Tim Hitt as they work back through turns 1 and 2. McDowell will try to close him down the back straightaway. Fry staying right there in 3rd. They're
in single file running order around this 3/8 mile track. Tim Hitt in control of possibly going to a $45,000 payday tonight. With the action settled down here at Dixie Speedway, we'll step away and be back with more on Speed Vision right after this. Back at Dixie Speedway, $168,000 will be paid out tonight. The winner gets the biggest part of that, $45 grand, and it looks like it might go to one of these three drivers who have been at the front of the field since the beginning of the event. Further back in the pack, the blue 21 is the defending event champion, Billy Moyer, who is still outside the top 10, as is the 31 of Skip Arp.
Both of those cars just out of the top 10, running in 12th and 13th. Moyer started at 26th and has made progression through the field. We may want to add, a couple of laps ago, Scott Bloomquist did clear Clayton Christianberry and now continues to attempt to move forward.
As did some of those other drivers, such as Ray Cook and Rick Auckland. But back up front, that's the battle for second. If you're just joining our telecast, Dale McDowell has been there since the start of the race. Bill Fry has been third. Then right behind them are Dan Schlieper and Wendell Wallace.
Bill Fry, a former event champion of this Hav A Tampa Shootout. He did it back in 1995. Scott Bloomquist, the only man to win the Hav A Tampa Shootout twice. He did that in the years of 1993 and 1994. A lot of smoke still coming out of that car.
He's trying to reel in the 00 of Freddie Smith, who is in the 7th position. Bill Fry has had several opportunities to get right up to Dale McDowell. Has even gotten a fender underneath him, but that's about all he's been able to do with him so far.
McDowell certainly feels his presence behind him as he motors out of turn 2, heads down the back chute, continuing to try to reel in race leader Timmy Hitt. Another look from an in-car camera.
And this is Skip Arp. Billy Ogle in the 201 right in front of him. Ogle a winner at Tazewell. Directly in front of him is Ray Cook. Meanwhile, Bill Fry maintaining pressure on Dale McDowell. And they're not stroking around this track, folks. There is no time in a 100-lap event to set up a lot of strategy. You've got to get to the front as quick as you can and try to keep it. So far, Tim Hitt has had a monopoly on it.
Looking for his first ever Hav A Tampa Dirt Racing Series victory. And wouldn't that be a thrilling ride to bring home his first career series win in this prestigious Hav A Tampa Shootout.
Ray Cook, a two-time winner this year, trying to reel in Rick Auckland, who has also gone to victory lane this season in Hav A Tampa competition. And a car slowed coming off the second corner. Looks like Billy Ogle Jr. has got major mechanical problems. All four tires appear to be inflated.
Ogle without power in his Calhoun's Restaurant-sponsored Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
He brings out the caution. While we are slowed, we'll step away for just a moment here from Dixie Speedway. Stay with us. Of the evening at Dixie Speedway in the season-ending Hav A Tampa Shootout for Billy Ogle Jr., who has taken his car from the Speedway. With this being the last event of the year, a number of awards are handed out, and Ozzie Altman presided over the Borla Performance Exhaust Award handed out earlier in the evening to Scott Bloomquist. Gary Taylor, the motorsports manager for Borla, handed Scott the $3,000 check for winning the most heat races this year.
Strong run. Another portion of Scott Bloomquist's nearly $250,000 total earnings in 1998.
He'll take home some of the money tonight for running in the top 10 right now, but if he could somehow get to the front, there is an additional $20,000 bonus available to him. But the way it's looking right now, Tim Hitt has no intentions of relinquishing the point easily.
He opens up that lead to about 4 car lengths again now as we're back under green flag conditions. Dale McDowell not able to close down on him. In fact, McDowell's got company on his rear deck lid as Bill Fry closes in again from third.
We had talked earlier about how the car's handling might change as the tires came up to temperature, and then there was a long green flag section. We've seen that, and Tim Hitt has been good on both cold tires and warmer tires, Ozzie.
He's just got that car dialed in. The folks at Rocket Chassis have to be exceptionally pleased with this run by Tim Hitt. looking for his first ever Hav A Tampa win in the biggest race of the season. And he's nearly 3/4 of the way there.
Dale McDowell, if he could finish second, will still take home $20,750. I'm sure that's not on his mind right now as we all go on board with Wendell Wallace, who's running 5th. And everybody, Ozzie, appears to be taking pretty much the same line around this 3/8 mile track.
Track preparation is certainly a gamble, Mark, and the officials here at Dixie were in hopes that this track was going to slick over from top to bottom, taking rubber, and it just hasn't worked out that way, and that's just the roll of the dice sometimes. You know, we documented several of the Hav A Tampa Shootout winners in years past. Wendell Wallace won this event in 1996. Of course, the inaugural event was won in 1990 by Bill Ingram, Tony Reed in 91, and Buddy Morris in 1992. Of course, Billy Moyer is the defending event champion.
Reed and last year's shootout winner Billy Moyer both went over on their roof in the first heat race last night. Reed was unable to make the show. Moyer had to use a provisional to get in the field and is mired back in the teens. This has been one of the better battles on the track of late as Ray Cook is finally able to work his way around Rick Auckland.
Both of these cars have marched forward through the field, passing a good number of their competitors to take the positions that they now hold on the racetrack, but up front, nothing's changing. Tim Hitt on the move here at Dixie Speedway.
Oh, wait a minute now. McDowell just closed in there for a couple of moments. Maybe he's found something that he's been holding back. I kind of doubt it. I think he's been trying hard. We got a car slowed on the Speedway. It is out for Clayton Christenberry. The yellow is out on lap 75. The left rear tire is flat. Now, he's been in the middle of some beating and banging all evening. Scott Bloomquist got into him a little bit earlier in the night, but we understand that we have a replay that may show exactly why Christenberry is in the pits. Yep, there's part of it. Hard contact with Ronnie Johnson. And he all but goes around in the second corner. I'm going to suspect that that's where his problems started.
Fourth caution of the evening here in this 9th annual Hav A Tampa Shootout, ready to go back to green flag racing. Tim Hitt will lead the way down through turns 1 and 2.
And Christenberry is able to effect a quick tire change and is back out on the track. Once again, McDowell gets a restart opportunity to try to chase down Tim Hitt. It hasn't worked any other time tonight, and it doesn't work again here. Tim Hitt opens up a 3-car length advantage.
Race fans, if you want to learn more about America's favorite show on dirt, the Hav A Tampa Dirt Racing Series, take a lap in cyberspace at the official website of the series, www.havatampaRacing.com.
That will have all sorts of off-season information, too. With this being the last event of the year, you can get all the final money, the standings, all the heat race winners. Just more information than you can possibly digest, but you'll have all winter to do it. I'll tell you what, we've been watching the last couple of laps here, how well Dale McDowell has been getting off the 4th corner, Ozzie. But that second corner seems to be a bugaboo.
You got to wonder if maybe a couple of these guys aren't trying to save a little bit of that right rear tire, but Tim Hitt looks awfully strong here in the closing phases of this race.
A little bit earlier today, we talked with Ray Cook, who's running in the top 10, about what 2 wins have done for him this year.
I tell you, our confidence level is getting a whole lot better. Anytime you can win races and see that you beat the best in the business, it just boosts your confidence very much.
You got to be a believer in your program, and Ray Cook certainly has become that. We look at Scott Bloomquist as he is just in front of Cook. They're running behind Freddie Smith and Bloomquist, continuing to smoke. Terry Phillips in the 75 car just in front of those 3 cars as we're closing in on the end of the road for the 1998 Hav A Tampa Dirt Racing Series.
The closing laps are upon us in event number 32 of the 1998 Hav A Tampa Dirt Racing Series. Another excellent season, and it will end on a high note for one of these 5 drivers. That's 4th place Dan Schlieper. Right behind him, the 6M of Wendell Wallace. Both of these drivers have multiple victories this year. Schlieper, who has won the 1998 Rookie of the Year title. Wendell Wallace, who wants to win this race. but would love to see teammate Dale McDowell win it if he can get around Tim Hitt. That has been an impossible task so far tonight.
Timmy Hitt awfully strong here at Dixie Speedway. Another look from the in-car camera of 1998 Series champion, the national champion of dirt late model racing, Scott Bloomquist.
Clinched it at the most recent event at Muskogee. It's the third time he's won the Series championship.
Bloomquist, the only driver on the tour with multiple national championships, and one of his sponsors, Bearden Oil Company, is the distributor of the official race fuel for the Hav A Tampa Dirt Racing Series. Bearden Oil Company, based in Eastman, Georgia. Great to see Shorty Bearden here. And, of course, Sunoco Race Fuels, the official fuel of the Hav A Tampa Dirt Racing Series.
As we look back on this season, Ozzie, a very competitive one, not just on the racetrack lap by lap, but also in the number of drivers who were able to get to victory.
If Tim Hitt holds on to this lead, he will become the 15th different driver to win a Hav A Tampa race in 32 sanctioned events.
Terry Phillips has been getting worked over by Freddie Smith. There's been no contact, but Smith has been dogging him, looking for any opening to move up into the 6th position. It hasn't happened. Neither has Tim Hitt made a mistake on the point.
Hitt now trying to stretch away from Dale McDowell. He can certainly smell the victory coming his way as we're in the waning stages of this event here at Dixie Speedway. And the good folks at AFCO Shocks and AFCO Racing Products, not only involved with the series, but they're a primary backer of Timmy Hitt's ride in 1998, and they'll certainly be pleased with his performance if he's able to pull off this win tonight.
And we would be remiss if we did not thank the folks at Redline Oil and Iski Racing Camps for all their support this year, and the in-car shots that we've had has given you a whole new perspective of what the drivers face, being the fastest on dirt.
We've noted earlier in the event, it's a rocket chassis machine for Hitt, the Chevrolet Monte Carlo, with a Drame racing engine. The Drame brothers providing Hitt with a lot of horsepower here tonight.
We're inside of 10 laps to go. Tim Hitt just a few circuits away from a possible $45,000 paycheck, the biggest of his career. And if anything, he's opening up a margin over second place Dale McDowell, who hasn't been anywhere near him the past couple of laps. In fact, the margin is now almost 10 car lengths.
Fourteen cars remain on the lead lap here at Dixie Speedway. Bill Fry directly behind McDowell, and almost he got a piece of the concrete there. He'll try to protect the position to keep Sleeper at bay back in the 4th spot. So things getting a little wild here as Fry puts it on the ragged edge.
And caution is on the speedway for a car slowing on the backstretch. It's Billy Moyer, the defending event champion, has got a problem. He'll come to the pits, and we'll be right back. In 1997, Billy Moyer capped off a championship season with a victory here in the Hav A Tampa Shootout. That was then, this is now. Moyer behind the wall. They're working on the right rear of that car. Looks like they're changing a flat tire, Ozzie.
Yep, definitely on the right rear. Moyer capped off his 1997 championship season here a year ago with that big win in last year's shootout. Tonight, Tim Hitt, the man that's closing in on the checkered flag. A couple of other drivers have clinched awards this evening. Freddie Smith will be the 1998 Hard Charger of the Year, passing more cars than any other driver in competition. We go green.
On lap 94, Ozzie, 6 circuits to go. And it must be getting longer and longer for Tim Hitt. He knows it's just about in his pocket, but he isn't cashing that $45,000 check just yet. And once again, right on the restart, opens up a 4-car length advantage.
And I'm sure that Tim Hitt would like to see nothing more than the green flag continue to wave until the checkers come out. He would like to maintain the advantage that he has right now for the balance of this event.
Bill Fry is getting pressure from Dan Schleeper for third. $2,100 the difference between third and fourth place money. Right behind them, Wendell Wallace, looking to take home a good piece of change tonight.
Wallace in one of the GRT race cars, house cars, And that's another award that has been decided here this evening, as GRT will clinch its second consecutive Chassis Manufacturers Award on the Hav A Tampa Series.
Just a few circuits to go. I believe 3 circuits is the indication we're getting for Tim Hitt as he chases his first Hav A Tampa victory and also the biggest payday of the season in any of the Hav A Tampa races. 2 circuits to go, 2 laps around Dixie Speedway for Tim Hitt. And they're slowing. It looks like we've got trouble on the track. Marshall Green has slowed off the second corner.
So the Kinzer Drilling sponsored Ford Mustang of Dalton, Georgia's Marshall Green falling by the wayside with just 2 laps remaining in the season-ending affair.
And the drama is stretched out a few more laps for Tim Hitt.
Mark, we mentioned that GRT Race Cars has captured the Chassis Manufacturers Award. The other chassis builders involved in that award include Rocket Race Cars. That's the type of chassis that Tim Hitt's in. Warrior Race Cars out of Knoxville, Tennessee, and the folks at Masters Built Race Cars up in Indiana.
And I believe Billy Moyer is running a Masters chassis. If you're just joining our telecast, it's been a wild weekend. Last night, in the very first heat race, the first lap, Moyer, one of 2 cars, along with Tony Reed, that went over on their bonnet. A little while ago tonight, it was Bill Fry on the pole for the start of the $168,000 event. But right from the get-go, Tim Hitt and Dale McDowell jumped to the point. Our big incident of the evening came out on lap 17 when a car was turned sideways in turn 2. Rick Eckert and Scott Bloomquist, 2 of the victims of that incident. And those have been the major highlights of a very action-packed weekend of racing at Dixie Speedway. Wendell Wallace looking to try to pick up at least 1 position, maybe a couple of more, and who knows, if there's a great big shunt at the front of the field, maybe he still has a chance to win it. But I believe that's only going to happen if Tim Hitt makes a mistake in these final 2 laps. A lap 98 restart and a terrific jump once again for the Hitman.
The Weston, West Virginia driver launches his Rocket Chassis Monte Carlo into turns number 3 and 4. He should be looking at the white flag this time around.
One more time around Dixie Speedway. Less than 15 seconds for this man to claim the biggest payday of his racing career. Turn 3 clean, turn 4 clean, and Tim Hitt's first victory is $45,000 at the Hav A Tampa Shootout.
What a way to pick up your first career win on the series. Hitt has got to be ecstatic right now. Of course, until they cross the scales and weigh, it's still unofficial, but just a few seconds more and Timmy Hitt should be pulling into victory lane.
He turns into the infield and will head directly to the scales. If he clears that, he will pull to victory circle and start the festivities that will lead to a $45,000 winner's check. Tonight's Hav A Tampa telecast is brought to you by Iski Racing Cams. Go fast, go Iski. By MDC, the official diecast manufacturer of the Hav A Tampa series. By Redline Oil, the official lubricant of the Hav A Tampa series. And by GoRacing.com, the official website of the Hav A Tampa series. Back with Victory Lane after this. Back at Dixie Speedway, Tim Hitt has cleared the scales in good order. That means he is the winner of the 9th annual Hav A Tampa Shootout. And he has every right to celebrate. Let's go trackside to Bill Hennessy to talk to tonight's winner.
Congratulations, Tim. A great win here in the Hav A Tampa Shootout. You've got to be ecstatic. How do you feel?
Oh, I tell you, I feel really great. You know, to win the first Hav A Tampa show and to win a show like this, you know, we've been wanting to run with Hav A Tampa quite a bit all year, but we could never get a motor, you know, 358. So we finally got one. Drain Racing Engines built us a motor, and it's brand new. We just got it in. So, hey, I'm happy.
Tim Hitt, with the biggest victory of his young career, wins the Hav A Tampa Shootout. You see Wendell Wallace coming home in 5th. In 6th, it was Terry Phillips, followed by Freddie Smith, Bloomquist, Cook, and Auckland.
And let's go back trackside to hear from second place, Dale McDowell.
How frustrating was it for you to ride in second place, trying to get up to his rear bumper?
Well, I could follow him, you know, pretty close there those first 30, 40 laps, and then after that, he could put about 2 or 3 car lengths on me, and my pit guys, my brother Shane, got to watching the guys coming in. Their tires were worn out, so we kind of was running conservative, and I was trying to make him run hard enough to maybe use his tire up. That was the only shot that we had. You know, me and Bill and myself, you know, we could run nose to tail, but unless one of us really made a drastic mistake, you know, we wasn't going to advance any in position. So we're just happy to be in the top 5, you know, here at the Hav A Tampa Shootout, and looking forward to the rest of the year. Need to thank all the race fans in Hav A Tampa for putting this on for us.
Coming into the race, Scott Bloomquist had already clinched the series championship. There were no changes among the top 5 drivers. Let's give a heads up and a congratulations to Dan Schleifer, the highest finishing rookie, picked up 2 victories this season. Hav A Tampa Racing president and the founding force of the Hav A Tampa Dirt Racing Series, Jimmy Mosteller, celebrating with Tim Hitt. Let's go back trackside.
Did you have a problem with the car or the track change?
Oh, I think the outside groove was a little better on the first start. Everybody kind of rolled into black a little better. We didn't quite have our back tires cut up as much as we probably needed for the early laps. After a caution, it'd take us 2 or 3 laps to get going again. We didn't have that many long greens while you could still race. And there towards the end, when we got some long greens, it got 1 lane and you couldn't pass.
A record crowd leaving Dixie Speedway as the season has come to a close. Ozzie Altman, some final thoughts.
Just a tremendously exciting season. Hitt becoming the 15th different winner in 32 races. Record crowds all over the country. The Hav A Tampa Dirt Racing Series stepping up to another level in 1998.
So that's the story on the 1998 Hav A Tampa season. For Bill Hennessy and Ozzie Altman, this is Mark Allen. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.